Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Nowadays Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Roscoe. And of course, y'all know I like the hot topics. And one of the hot topics right now is Tucker Carlson interviewing his brother on the Tucker Carlson Show. And you guys know Tucker Carlson, of course. He worked for Fox News for a long, long time. His tenure ended in 2023 following a defamation lawsuit, $700 million defamation lawsuit, and Fox and Tucker decided to go their separate ways. And his younger brother, Buckley Carlson, is a former Republican operative who used to work for the Trump campaign and was specifically positioned as a communications manager. And communications managers are they're in control of different kind of things, but one that comes to mind is writing the president's speeches. And here we have both of them speaking about Trump, about what's going on right now in the political atmosphere, and we're just going to get right into it and react.
But at some point, it's going to take those people actually talking to each other and saying enough is enough. I mean, I actually think we do have remedies for an out of control, megalomaniacal, destructive president. I think, honest people who have that power should consider taking it. 25th Amendment is there for a reason. It's not crazy to talk about it in this context. If our country is suffering great and lasting damage, which it seems to be, then sober minds need to come in and exercise what power they have for the benefit of all of us. Easier said than done, I'm sure.
Right. Easier said than done. But I mean, it's certainly, I think saying the truth, whatever you think that it is the first step toward redemption of yourself and of your country.
Yes.
Like, tell the truth. That's your number one duty.
Can I say one other thing?
Of course.
I'm certain the fear of the physical threat is real. That's
obviously
demonstrated a lot. But also, if it's shame, if there's blackmail material as there is on so much of our elected officials, if there isn't Trump, it's like, I'm sorry, you've demonstrated that you don't have any personal shame. I mean, you've demonstrated that a lot. You persevered through all of these accusations of disgusting personal behavior. How shocking is it really if there are pictures of you doing compromising things? Not very. And it doesn't even matter. Like, actually, I hate the term, but sack up.
Yeah.
Like, really, again, it comes back to the obligation that he has, not just to Donald Trump, to everybody else in the country, well beyond Donald Trump. Who cares? He can survive.
So looking back, because, I mean, you and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like, in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, the question does present itself immediately. Like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like.
So, wow. And I know you guys are reacting to this as well. Tucker seems to be dealing with some compunction, feeling guilty about supporting Trump, the propaganda and his job, there at Fox News, specifically at Fox News, because as you guys know, it seems like the Democrats are on the CNN side and then the Republicans are on the Fox side. I mean, we're not dumb, right? But it seems like he's having this mea culpa moment where he's saying that he's going to be tormented for misleading people. He feels in his mind that he's misled people for supporting Trump and voting for Trump, getting people to do these things at the voting booth. So this for me is appalling, because I used to watch Tucker Carlson all the time, and he had a staunch approach. He was very rigid when it came to his beliefs and who he thought Trump was at the time. So, wow. And you hear his brother calling for the 25th Amendment. And that essentially means his brother will, the vice president will come into power and Trump will essentially be removed. And I don't know how that seems very difficult to happen, but needless to say, this is groundbreaking for that matter, because we all know who Tucker Carlson was. And it seems like what I've noticed in retrospect, that if Trump ends up firing someone or someone ends up getting ousted from the Republican Party, or somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people that have worked for Trump, when they end up being fired, and they seem to have nothing but bad things to say. But even on the spectrum of a more like people like me and you, right? For an example, people who are not in the political atmosphere, people who don't work for the White House, people who are nowhere near that spectrum, right? We get fired, we're gonna be mad too, right? So I don't know how much like stock we want to put into that, but it seems like he's very fervent and emphatically has a distaste or disdain for what he did. Usually people who get fired have a lot to say, a lot of bad things to say about the person who fired them. But here he's taking blame for the actions that he took, that he played a part in. So it seems to be more plausible to believe the things that he's saying, or to at least, pay attention to what he's saying. So again, it's crazy to hear him say that, to hear his brothers say that. And these are two people who worked for him, or you can say Tucker Carlson ostensibly worked for him in a way when it came to, campaigning for him or doing whatever he had to do to get people to vote for him. So we're going to finish the video.
Clearly, there were signs of low character. We knew that.
Yes.
But it didn't. There are tons of people of low character who outperform their character. It doesn't have to be
sort of the norm, actually, these days. I would say.
I've outperformed my character a lot. I don't have especially high character, right? But you try your best. But what was this? Was this always the plan?
Looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was. And it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that and Ryan Ruth? I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts. Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom of that?
I haven't talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah, stymied from the very top, from people who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the motive.
Yes,
yeah,
very much. So the enormous amount of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time. But, there's a lot of money in politics. To run for president requires an enormous, Kathleen Camel-Toe went through $2 billion in 4 months. So sure, there's an argument to be made that you get money from those who will give it to you. It's just the nature of that game. But it's still reprehensible, and it's still a big question mark. Why would someone who has obvious and demonstrated allegiance to a foreign power give Donald Trump $250 million while he's running for president? I mean, how is that defensible? It's really not. If Russia had given a PAC for Trump, if the mayor of Moscow had somehow, assembled an enormous amount of money and put it in a 501c3 for Trump's benefit, would that have been acceptable? Of course it wouldn't have been. So what does it's so basic, comes back to the money. Like, what did they get in return for that amount of investment? And it's clear.
I get it. No, I mean, of course, I agree with every word that you're saying. I just think, given his behavior and his demonstrated disloyalty and viciousness to previous supporters,
yes,
why wouldn't he display the same lack of loyalty to Miriam Adelson? I mean, that's kind of the question. The only people he's been loyal to are the neocons and his donors. So he's attacked, so he attacks Islam. Some of us stand up and say, probably shouldn't be attacking a religion. Oh, you're a Muslim, secret Muslim. You love Muslims. No, just I like reverence, and I don't think you should attack people on the basis of their religion. Don't attack their religion.
Yes.
And all these like evangelicals are like, oh, you're a Muslim. The next week he attacks Jesus. Okay, because it's all connected, right?
Clearly.
Of course.
Well beyond money, obviously.
Well, right. But the one person he's never going to attack is Rebbe Schneerson.
Yes.
And, the Chabad leader who's passed, but who I'm not attacking, by the way, but who was regarded as the Messiah by many of his followers. I don't think Trump should attack him, to be clear. But Trump would never attack him. That's the one Messiah he will never attack. So, like, what is that? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
It's totally cool to attack Jesus. Oh, it's a joke. I was saying I was a doctor. I heal people.
So as you can see, like now they're making accusations against Trump, right? About how he's loyal to only specific people who have given him a lot of money. People like Miriam Adelson. She's a businesswoman. And might I mention, she is from Israel. And I think what they're alluding to is that Trump has been bought by Israel donors, people who are from Israel, who has Israel in their best interest, is supporting Trump. And Miriam is worth over $37 billion. And so, I mean, would you talk bad or try to besmirch someone who's giving you over $250,000, right? Now, by no means am I saying that this is okay, but it is a story to this, right? Because we are in the Middle East and we are going to war right now with Israel, going against Iran. Now, this is what the picture that they're trying to paint. They're trying to say Israel has bought Trump. So when it comes to Israel being in conflict with other countries, Trump will capitulate to Israel's request of assistance when it comes to going to war with Iran. Is it true? You guys let me know what you think in the comments.
Well, that's how Jesus described himself, by the way. You're attacking Jesus.
Yes. No, demonstrably so. He did that
obviously
on purpose, yes.
On a Sunday.
Absolutely.
You're attacking Jesus on a Sunday. It's totally fine. But we all know, and again, I'm not asking that he attack Rebbe Schneerson. He should not. But he never would. He'd die first. So, like, you tell me what that is.
Gosh, I wish I knew. But he should be called to respond.
I agree.
Yeah, very much so. It makes no sense. Although it's revealing, as you're indicating. Plus, Trump is a totally secular human being who never held a Bible, didn't put his hand on the Bible. Obviously, that's an offensive statement right there that should have been. He's the only president of the United States who's never put his hand on the Bible during his inaugural.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
I don't know if that means he's a secular person. I think it means he's got a different religion.
No, I'm saying he had been perceived as a secular individual. And clearly there's...
So where does this go?
wish I could answer that question. I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're getting out of Iran anytime soon. It doesn't seem like the Strait of Hormuz is going to open anytime soon. It doesn't seem like Bibi Netanyahu is going to allow us to achieve peace. Doesn't seem like American power is getting any stronger. Doesn't seem like the American people are going to stop suffering anytime soon. I think at some point, I mean, there are mechanisms for dealing with a government that's not responsive. I hope it doesn't go there, but it does. People are upset, man. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
Is that true?
Oh, people are outraged. And why wouldn't they be? I mean,
at this point, I mean, given your views and your name and your life, like you're not hanging out with liberals. You've never hung out with liberals ever. You're the least liberal person, American liberal that
I would say that's
ever. You literally carry a gun and smoke unfiltered cigarettes and
may I have one?
No,
actually?
of course you may. And sleep in bed with dogs and like the whole thing. So it's not, you're not coming at this from like, you don't have a lot of friends who are Starbucks baristas, right?
I do not.
Right.
No, although I do share. I mean, I kind of wish I'd listened. The evidence was there that Trump didn't have a stable footing and wasn't.
What are by the way, let me just, is that even still sold in this country?
Camels. They're very hard to find. They're very expensive, especially in a world where tobacco is quite expensive.
Those have been made continuously since 1913.
I think every American military man up until Vietnam had these in his sea rations.
Yep. General Blackjack Pershing,
yes,
cabled back from France to President Woodrow Wilson and said, "Send more camels. We will win the war with these."
A friend of mine, right before this interview, that's not a small thing, what we've done. I mean, if the president of the United States is not just I don't think of as my protector, but he's the protector of the country. He represents the country.
That's correct.
And that's his sole job. Actually, one job only is to husband the resources that you have, that you were given. And he's failed on every level, but he's also degraded what we had, and was already under attack for so long. So it's unclear what's going to happen, but I've never seen, I'm 55. I've seen a lot of what could have become unrest. I've never seen more fertile ground for real unrest than what we have now, especially with the advent of AI, the current economy, our debt, and, the prospect of more Americans dying in a country they can't find on a map and fighting a fight that they can't articulate, don't understand, and don't want. So
you got to wonder if that's accidental. I mean, like if you wanted to destroy the country, this is exactly what you'd do.
Well, the entire program for the latter half of my life has seemed designed to weaken this country, to divide people, to make them less happy and more enslaved.
It does seem that way. I don't.
I'm appalled, right? It's like they knew what they were doing when they were doing it. So why now have this compunction, right? Why do you have this guilt all of a sudden? And I know sometimes it takes time to get out of your wrong and realize that you're wrong. But it's like they knew why they were doing it. And not only that, they can articulate it so well, what they were doing. And it gives me the impression that they knew it, why they were doing it, and they didn't care. They knew that this man had character issues and character flaws. They knew that all of the things that they're alluding to in this video, they knew that he was bought by Israel. They knew that he was operating in a way that was not suitable for a president. So I don't know. This interview makes me feel a little leery about Tucker Carlson and his brother. Are they one of those employees that when they get fired, they have a lot of smack to talk about their employer? Or do you feel like what they are saying is very plausible and they just come to grips with the truth? I think that because they were employed and doing the things that they were doing back then, I think it can be a little bit of both. So they're like, this is crazy. They're saying like the world can be as worse as it can get at the current moment. Like, this is crazy. They were saying this same stuff about Biden. They would besmirch Biden every single day. He would. I know Tucker Carlson would. And of course, Buckley, he didn't have a talk show to do that. But, one could assume that this is what he felt during the time. And now they're talking like that about Trump. That's crazy to me. That is so crazy that it just gives you a moment of pause to ask yourself, how bad has this really gotten? How bad is the American people suffering? Where are we going right now as a country? It's crazy. We have a couple more minutes of the video. So
I don't know that there was like a meeting at Bilderberg or Bohemian Grove or whatever.
It's so precise and so overwhelming and so universal on every front that it could not have been accidental. These are not just...
Yeah, you wonder if it was a conspiracy of instinct. I mean, when the George Floyd thing happened, I was confused as to what was going on because I'm literal. I mean, I'm against, obviously vandalism and rioting and hate the whites. It's just like, that's just a no-go for me immediately. But I didn't understand its purpose. I didn't understand its scale. Like, I just didn't get it. I was mesmerized by what was happening in Minneapolis outside the convenience store, right? And the New York Times ran a piece, I'll never forget it. And in it, they quoted some art critic from New York, like from the West Village or something. It was literally in New York. And he said, like 2 days in, he goes, "This is the revolution." It's like certain people tuned into the frequency of destruction, of evil.
Yes.
Like they recognized it immediately. Just like they recognized Trump immediately as a threat to them. Yes. They've neutralized that threat somehow. But I guess. But anyway, they could feel it. And this art critic, whose name I can't even remember, but
he was celebrating it.
He was celebrating. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he was absolutely celebrating it. Like, but he knew that this was more than simply about the death of some guy trying to pass a bad 100 at a convenience store. This was a reordering of American society. We're going to get rid of all the white cops because we need to do that in order to something, whatever. I mean, there's some reason why they wanted that. And you
effectuate peace?
Yeah, no, probably not. Anyway,
protect the women and the children.
Protect the women and the children. No, to destroy. That's the point of evil, of course. Yes. So, I don't know. Maybe these are unknowable questions.
It can't be a confluence of random events. It is clearly by design. It's clearly been a long-term plan. That's just obvious.
Last question. Do you, given the attitudes you've described, like total contempt for people who supported him, total reverence for or unwillingness ever to criticize people who are clearly opposed to the United States, do you feel personally threatened?
I think the backlash that we're going to see and whatever comes, I mean, the reaction from the lunatic left is going to be overwhelming. They may be disorganized now. That's the other thing we didn't talk about is that Trump's coalition that he put together, he had so demonstrably and definitively spanked, shamed, destroyed the left. The level of dispiritedness and disorganization among the left in November of 24 and December of 24. I mean, they didn't engage in any kind of retrospective, or they didn't try to figure out how they could represent the country or the party or fix the problems. Of course, they never do that. But
we're going to take this opportunity to help Black people since we love Black people so much. We're gonna spend our years in the wilderness trying to elevate Black people.
They didn't do that.
That never occurred to them.
They'll never do that.
They'll never do that.
What they did do was they recognized that their political fortunes were dashed for some time to come because it was obvious. It was obvious that Trump had a total mandate to do the things that he had been, which is obviously why people are so upset that he didn't grasp the nettle and do what he said he was going to do, because he had such fertile ground to do it, and he had both houses of Congress, and he could have actually accomplished a lot more than just signing executive orders and closing the border. God bless him for closing the border. But why hasn't he, expelled the 50 million people who are here illegally?
Why are we still importing people? And they're announcing now we're going to import more people. We're going to give citizenship to the illegals that we supposedly were going to deport. Now we're giving them citizenship?
It's absolutely obscene.
Oh, I didn't have my mic on. But hey, listen, my computer's finna die, so I got to end the show. But listen, yeah, everything they said was totally appalling to me, fascinating to me, that they have these opinions and sentiments about Trump. One person who they revered, highly revered, and now they have a strong disdain for this man, and they hold him in contempt in a way. What are your thoughts? And again, I'm not obscuring from the last few minutes of this show. I agree with him. The border was open, and paying my tax dollars, and it shouldn't go to things like that. Housing and all that. Nah, I'm not for that. So, but this interview was groundbreaking. I want to know you guys' thoughts. I want to know how you guys feel about it. Do you think that they're lying? Do you think that they're telling the truth? Do you think that Trump? How do you feel? Do you think that Trump is a good president? Do you think he's a bad president? How do you think the country is, going right now? Do you feel like our economy is well? Give me all those comments in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm trying to get my YouTube channel off the ground. And I just want to give you guys an opportunity to voice yourselves in the comment section. So thank you for tuning in. Another episode of Nowadays Podcast. Peace out.